is. I'm back with Jim Peterick on Milwaukee Avenue in front of Revolution Brew Pub. Revolution Brew Pub supplied us with amazing food for tonight. Car Con Carne presented by the Autobarn Mazda of Evanston. This entire episode, Jim's already performed in the car. He played vehicle in the vehicle, which is about as meta as it gets. In fact, I don't need to do this show anymore after tonight. Now that you've played vehicle in this car, I'm done. I got nothing.
I'm going to talk you back into it.
That's it. I mean, unless I get Gary Newman to play like next week, I have no other opportunities. That's
He's human.
He is. So Jim Peterick is here. You know him from so many bands. Most specifically, right now, in the moment, Ides of March, his long-running, decades-running, 55-year running band, straight out of Berwyn. New album on the way in August.
Mm-hmm.
And you played a song from that. You can watch the video. You can hear the audio on carconcarne.com soon enough. I do want to thank Revolution for providing us with food. You've got a salad, a kale salad, which is a superfood.
It's yum.
And you're a super guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you also got some wings. I got the Fist City fish and chips.
Fist City?
Fist City. Well, that's one of their signature beers.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure. Oh, look at this, Jim.
Let's see. Oh, that is so crunchy.
Looks delicious.
That is so deep fried.
You want some?
No, it's heart threatening. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love it. It looks so good.
I'm still youngish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old? Never mind.
I'm 30. I don't know what you're.
I'm 32, so
There you go.
you're catching up. But I might have a bite of that later.
It looks delicious.
It does.
Again, Revolution Brew Pub. This place is fantastic. Of course, the beer. You know the beer. All their beers are here. Even beers you probably haven't seen or heard of before. They're coming up with cool stuff at the bar at Revolution. Fist City Fish and Chips. Admittedly, we've let our food sit for a while because you had some rocking to do. And you don't want to rock on a full stomach.
I'm just enjoying this. Do I have to talk?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Well, ask me something else. See if I want to answer.
Fish and chips are amazing. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You mentioned the Hagar song. Heavy Metal.
Man, one of my favorites.
Now, I mean, I first heard that song as part of the Heavy Metal soundtrack. Now, when I was a kid, I'm a little bit younger than you. Heavy Metal was one of those like forbidden fruit things. Like it was that movie we weren't allowed to see because it had boobies and it was
erotic. Oh my God. You know, funny story. I mean, I love the movie, obviously. But Mancow, my good friend and really iconic jock.
I've heard of him.
Yep, you've heard him. He got his first sexual excitement, that's the best way to say it, watching Heavy Metal. He tells the story every time. He had an awakening to the girl riding the, what was she riding? A giant something. And it wasn't what you'd think. It was an animal of some kind. But it was so erotic, it got him aroused.
I think my awakening was just looking at the cover of Fleetwood Mac Rumors.
Was that yours?
May have been.
Mine was Julie London, 1954. The cleavage. I go, that's leading somewhere. Where's that leading? You know, and then Doris Day had the cover of my sister's Pajama Game soundtrack album in the shorty little PJs, and I was mesmerized.
Did not expect the conversation to go this direction.
It always does.
It always does. Made me spit out my food, Jim Peterick.
I hope so.
Let's talk about heavy metal. You wrote the song. I mean, you're not a heavy metal songwriter or performer, and you wrote what has become one of the quintessential songs with those words in it.
Precisely. Which is really interesting because when we got together, first of all, Sammy picks me up in his red Ferrari Daytona. He had just gotten it, convertible.
He's not allowed to drive any other color car.
No, it has to be red. And it was brand new. And he picks me up at the airport. That's when you could pick people up, like at the airport. And I mean, he didn't meet me at the gate. That was 10 years earlier before that. But I was really impressed. And he had the blonde hair, and he looked so in shape. And, you know, man, you know, I said, nice car. He goes, yeah, good country, America. That was his first words. He's an American. Very much that kind of guy.
So what year is this, like 80, 81?
81,
okay.
Exactly. And anyway, he took me over to his house in Mill Valley, and we stopped to get some Kona coffee, ground right there. So, I mean, the whole afternoon we're buzzing on this high-grade coffee. We didn't get illegal at all. And we just started jamming. And he said, you know, my manager, Fast Eddie Leffler, said, you know, there's this movie called Heavy Metal. I got the inside track. You guys want to write a soundtrack, title track, just go ahead. And so that was our focus. And I said, hell yeah. You know, this is before Rocky, so I hadn't had a lot of experience writing for movies. But we started jamming in his basement, which was a studio as well. His house was gorgeous. Upstairs overlooked like acres of redwood trees, and his wife was great and serving us, you know, hors d'oeuvres, and it was just like a dream. The redwoods, they smelled so good, like this car, similar, only totally different. So he started playing this riff, you know. I said, that's great. And so we honed in on that riff, and I said, well, I'm not really a heavy metal guy. He says, well, I'm not really either. I'm a rocker. I said, yeah, I'm a rocker. But I said, I could imagine what it feels like to sit in the audience, and you're about to see Iron Maiden, you know, or Megadeth, or one of those really cool heavy metal bands, and the electricity is just filling the audience. I said, I don't know about you, but to me the most exciting part of a concert is anticipation, and sitting in the audience just waiting for those guys to hit the stage and the lights to hit. Let's capture that moment. So I just started saying lyrics, you know, headbangers in leather, you know, you're looking around, sparks flying in the dead of the night, it all comes together when they shoot out the lights. 50,000 watts of power, it's pushing overload, the beast is ready to devour all the metal it can hold, about to explode, about to overload. And man, we're trading lines, and okay, listen to this. One-way ticket to midnight, call it heavy metal, you know, and we're like,
that's such a great hook.
You know,
that chorus right there, my God.
One-way ticket to midnight, higher than high, feeling just right, call it heavy metal. Desperation on the red line, call it heavy metal noise. And then my favorite verse, and I got to take credit for a lot of this one, tight pants and lipstick. She's riding on the razor's edge. She holds her own against the boys, cuts through the crowd just like a wedge. Can't you feel the static? So many contacts being made. We got up front fanatics breaking down the barricades to reach the stage. You know, the girls love that line because it empowers them, you know? So it's not just this macho bunch of leather jerks, you know? We got them.
It's a song about empowerment.
It is. Both, you know?
Yeah, and that soundtrack, I mean, actually, there's not a whole lot of heavy metal period on that soundtrack.
Oh, no. I mean,
Nazareth, it might be the heaviest thing on there.
It probably is. And the other song called Heavy Metal, which is Don Felder, we didn't even know that was going to be on there. And it's a nice song. But I think, and I want to say ours captured the spirit very well.
For sure. Let's talk about 38 Special. Rockin' Into the Night was your song.
It was a song that me and Frankie wrote for the first Survivor album. And at the last minute, Ron Nevison, our great producer, a guy that's famous for Led Zeppelin, he did Physical Graffiti, he did the Who Tommy album, you know, nothing big. No, he did Quadrophenia. I was lying. But he decided it wasn't for the band. It didn't keep in keeping. It was too southerny. Wow, yeah. Guess what? And we were pretty, we didn't even know that he had given it, no, he didn't give it to 38, but John Kalodner, who is our A&R man, he's the guy that signed Survivor to the Scotti Brothers.
I feel like I've heard his name outside of Survivor. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he signed Aerosmith in their resurgence, and he's the guy in the wedding dress in the Pump video. Very weird, eccentric guy. Really, we love him, though. I mean, I owe a lot to him because he put me together with Sammy, put me together with Aerosmith, with Henry Paul and the Outlaws, and you know, he was a mentor. But you know, at the time, Kalodner took that tape and gave it to Mark Spector, the manager of 38 Special. Unbeknownst to me, they loved it. They cut it. By the time it was out, we didn't even know they had cut it. We're going
That's
down.
Hilarious.
We're going down the road to cut a video in San Francisco. New from 38 Special, Rockin' Into the Night. We go, oh shit, you know. It was this mixed feeling of, it's cool to hear our song on the radio, but it's not us.
Right, of course.
You know, so that's.
So what do you think when you heard it?
Well, like I said, mixed emotions. It sounded great. It wasn't as good as our version, but it was damn good.
That's a signature song for 38 Special.
Yeah, it really is. They do it every night. Sometimes they start with it. But then about a year later, Kolodner said to 38, you guys got to fly to Chicago and write with Jim. That one was great for you, but if you get together with Don Barnes and Jeff Carlisi, you could really do something. And that first day, that same kitchen table that Frankie and I wrote Eye of the Tiger, we wrote Hold On Loosely. And it was like one of those magic times. You know,
is there anyone, there is no one who listens to that song and doesn't sing along as loudly as they can.
Hold on loosely.
You cannot be subtle when you sing along with Hold
But
On
don't
Loosely.
let go. Yeah. Well, you know, the thing I'm proud about, some of my biggest songs that I've written or co-written actually have a little bit of a message to them. And that one, first of all, Don Barnes says, well, I got a title. And a lot of times I ask the guys, hey, do you have any great titles? Because a great title can sometimes lead the whole song.
Sure.
And he says, well, I got a title. I said, well, let's hear it. He goes, Hold On Loosely. I said, wow, that's cool. And I said, but don't let go. And suddenly I was thinking about the girl I used to date. And, you know, I was 17, she was 15. I was like her first date. And I was getting a little too, you know...
Clingy?
Yeah, clingy. You know, not giving her space to breathe in, as it were. And she didn't actually say, hey, Jim, hold on loosely. But that was the thing. We broke up because I was just going too fast and not giving her enough space. So, you know, long story short, that informed the whole lyric. You see it all around you, good lovers going bad. Suddenly it's too late when you realize what you had. My mind goes back to the girl I met long years ago who told me, hold on loosely, but don't let go. If you cling too tightly, you're going to lose control. Your baby needs someone to believe in and a whole lot of space to breathe in. You know, and it just wrote itself. And at the end of the day, we knew we had a big hit.
So Hold On Loosely begat what else with you?
Caught Up in You. That was a year later. We got together. That song went top 10. And we kind of tried to consciously kind of clone that formula. Mm-hmm. And Don had another title, Caught Up in You. So caught up in you. Immediately I started singing that little girl. And that little girl, I stole it right from Leonard Skinner. What's your name? Yeah. Little girl. You know, you borrow from your sources. And that song is just a piece of pop fluff. Great. People love that song. The girls, when the Ides of March play that song, the girls are like going crazy.
I bet the dudes go crazy too.
Maybe so, because the girls are going crazy. Uh-huh. And they get on that, you know, we played this concert a few days ago, 7,000 people, and then there's this little area, and the girls filled up the dance floor. And it wasn't really a dance floor, it was just an area. And they were just, man, they had a few drinks in them. They were so loose, man. It was, so I do this wireless thing at the end of Tiger where I'll go out with my guitar and jam, and the band's playing, and I'm jamming, and I find all the cute girls, and I said, back to back. And we play back to back, you know. And, man, I went on that dance floor. I had the time of my life. My wife was watching all this. Yeah, and she's going, yeah, you know, she trusts me.
Jim.
That's good. You have your fun.
Good for you.
Now come home. Yeah.
Come home. You left the dishes in the dishwasher.
Oh, yeah.
You have to go to Target.
You're never a prophet in your own home, man.
It's so true. You know, you brought up the fact that Caught Up in You is very much a pop song, but it's so interesting. It's such a different time. Pop songs in the 1980s had guitars on them.
Yes. Yes.
You have been around since 1964 as a musician. You've seen the ebbs and flows of the music industry and public taste and rock's ascent and evolution. Mm-hmm. Where are we at with rock and roll in 2019?
Well, I see glimmers of it coming back. You know, I mean, there's a lot of bands that are trying to be Led Zeppelin now. But, you know, it's kind of scary because sometimes I'll think it's Led Zeppelin. You know, I would appreciate...
You're talking about Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah. I would appreciate if they added their own thing to it.
Yeah. Like you said, borrow.
Yeah, but they just take.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they're great. And that's better than, you know, the alternative of mindless pop that, you know, I'm not a big fan of the things that I sound like an old man now.
No.
I'm only 68, but everything sounds alike because the way music is created, they're not from songs, they're from beats. and somebody will create a beat, and then another guy will come and do the melody, if there is one. Then another guy will come and do the lyrics. It's like by committee. That's why when you see the Grammys, there'll be 8 guys on stage. We only needed 2.
Fair enough. Jingles. This is something people may not realize about Jim Peterick. You're a jingle writer. I mean, you're a songwriter.
How do you know that?
Everyone knows. I mean, a lot of people know that.
No, you don't.
Did you write the Hams theme?
No. You know what? To be really honest, the main thing I did was sing. I didn't write a lot of the commercials. I sang the commercials. Right now, back in the late 60s, early 70s, Chicago was the hub of jingles in America. And I always sang for the 3 Dicks. Dick Marks, Dick Reynolds, and Dick Boyle.
Okay.
They're all dicks.
You sped that story up a little bit. Got a little weird.
Yeah, I'm glad I went to the next line. But they were my mentors, and they loved vehicle. So for years, I was beer and tires. That's what they called me for. But occasionally, they'd be like, well, beer, of course. Look out for the bull. Look out for the Schlitz malt liquor bull. Nobody makes malt liquor like Schlitz, nobody. That was me. I was also... Brian Wilson came to me. I wrote many songs with Brian lately. He said, was that you on I'm Drinking Up Orange Vibrations, Sun-Kissed? Yeah. I said, no, that wasn't me. Yeah, it was me. And
you don't want to tell Brian Wilson you did that.
Well, I admitted it. I said, I made a lot of money. He said, well, then it's okay. But that was a big one. That ran for 7 years.
God.
Right, I mean, and then, now that you've had a drink, oh, what a time to think, I should have had a V8. With just one sip. It was a great time.
Well, and you were the Great American Hero, right?
No, that was Dave Bickler.
Okay.
The Real Men of Genius.
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah.
That was Dave, and he made can I say shit ton?
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Of money on that. God bless him. But he did amazing. But jingles have been very good to me. But when Eye of the Tiger went #1, I was asked to come in and do a commercial, and I had to be a Rice Krispie, I'm sitting around, singing this inane song about Rice Krispies, and the producer is going, put more smile into it, and we're all trying to, and suddenly the room started breathing, and I realized I can't do this anymore. I finished the commercial, and that was the last jingle I ever did.
That's amazing. So let's go back to Eye of the Tiger for a second. It goes to #1. It is ubiquitous. It still is ubiquitous. Was there pressure, internal or label-wise, for the follow-up?
Oh, man.
Was it one of those situations where it's like, okay, well, you gave us Eye of the Tiger. What do you got next?
Well, we had already cut the whole Eye of the Tiger album, so the pressure was built in. They knew they had to pick one from that record. And we had a song called American Heartbeat, which was kind of the heir apparent. But it didn't really, it made it to #14 on the charts. Didn't break the sky wide open. It's really hard to come back after Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until the Vital Signs record that we got major success. And by that time, Dave Bickler had left the band, and we got Jimmy Jameson in the band. And we had this resurgence that proved to everyone we can have hits without the Rocky franchise. We loved Rocky, but we wanted to prove we could do it on our own. And we got Ron Nevison to produce the album. Frankie and me got crazy writing. We just hit a streak in this crummy carpet warehouse with the carpet fumes just making our eyes tear. Maybe that was part of the high. We wrote High on You, Can't Hold Back, The Search Is Over.
These are songs with just gigantic hooks. These are pop songs.
Yes, they are. And I always write for the singer. Whether it's with 38 Special or Sammy, I write for the voice. With Dave Bickler, I wrote tougher songs like Poor Man's Son and, Take You on a Saturday. With Jimmy, it was a prettier voice. One of the best pop voices I've ever worked with in my life. And that's when the search is over, you were with me all the while. I mean, I started writing melodies to beat the band because I knew he could deliver them. The first time we auditioned him, I played him Broken Promises that Frankie and I had just finished. And instead of singing in the mic, he sang right in my ear, "Broken Promises." And it sounded so sweet. I said, "Frankie, this is the guy." And then we taught him "Search Is Over." And I still have goosebumps thinking about that moment when he learned that song and sang it for the first time.
You can still remember that.
Oh,
because when it clicks, it's magic,
oh,
right?
the buzz, you know. And then the first time he did the final vocal, we were all in the control room in Sausalito at the record plant, and everybody, I was tearing up. It was that good. Then I touched your hand. I could hear you whisper, "The search is over. You were with me all the while." Holy shit, you know.
I remember buying High on You on 7-inch.
Oh, cool, man.
I bought it at Record City in Skokie.
I love it.
Uh-huh.
That was a rocking song.
Yes. So, okay, going back to the Ides of March, the new album comes out in August. Sorry, I'm not letting you eat it all. This is one of the great secrets of this podcast. I get to eat whatever, and my guest kind of suffers and tries to sneak in food as I'm talking.
The wings are great.
The wings, the fish and chips.
Oh my God.
The Fist City fish and chips from Revolution are fantastic. And of course,
the wings.
people come here for the beer, but this brew pub is kick-ass.
But stay for the wings.
Stay for the wings.
They're smoked. Oh my
Gotta
God.
love that. So Ides of March, new album on the way. By the time this podcast is out, just scant weeks away.
New video.
New video?
New video. We'll have it. Mark Farner and me and the band Swagger.
For those of you who may just be watching this video, didn't see the previous video, Mark from Grand Funk. I mean, this is
It's a big deal.
This is a big deal.
He was at one time part of the biggest band in America.
Yeah.
They sold out Shea Stadium faster than the Beatles. True story. And of course, the Ides of March used to tour with them. And we were always like in awe of Farner. Long hair, singing Closer to Home, you know, playing his ass off. And now we're playing with him and writing songs. And Swagger, wait till you hear Swagger.
You're all contemporaries.
Yeah, we are. And he's healthy. He does these concerts with me called World Stage. And he's dancing. The girls in the front row are going nuts because his body language is so cool. He's like a teenager.
I love it. And I guess the one thing I didn't get to ask you, which I'm going to ask you right now, you took the turn with Survivor. These guys in Ides of March, they've been your generals.
I'm not getting fresh.
Oh, no. Since the beginning. What was their vibe when Survivor started to explode? Were they like, "Oh, that's great, Jim"?
Well, you know, they were very happy for me. But we never broke up. We put it on hiatus. We played every year, even if it was one gig or at a friend's birthday party. We kept going. We never broke up, and they were all like, "You go, Jim. You go, Jim." And if you ever want to, come back for good, 96, I left Survivor, and I got real serious about, now we're going to go all the way. And we started doing shows, man. We're doing 50 shows a year. We still are. It's crazy.
Because they love you.
Well, we love each other.
Need you.
I caught that.
Vehicle in the vehicle. Jim Peterick, you are a local treasure. I mean, really, you're a local treasure. That's it. I mean,
thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for playing in the car. Thanks for not even batting an eye.
Oh, man.
Like, you're a dude who doesn't have to play in a car.
You want to bet?
Yeah.
Huh.
But thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm going to let you eat in peace.
James, it's been a pleasure. I told you off the air, you're a great foil because you know music and you know my music, which is very flattering. And you had the Premonition album.
That was my gateway drug to the world of Jim Peterick.
Gateway drug?
That was it.
Oh, my God.
Because, I mean, you remember, like, in that era, I mean, you were all over Chicago radio. I mean, that was...
Yeah.
You were like the local hero. I mean, this was...
The Loop. We did Loop Fest every year. They premiered Somewhere in America from the first album and played that. And then when Premonition came out, they played Poor Man's Son and...
Summer Nights.
And Poor Man's Son, that's what Stallone loved, and that's the sound he wanted. So, even though the records didn't do great, except in Chicago, it paved the way for the rest of it. I
love it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you eat. The whole podcast, if you're watching on video, will be available on CarCoonCarney.com, anywhere you consume podcasts. If you're just watching on video, thanks for doing that. And tell a friend about Car Coon Carney. More importantly, tell a friend about Ides of March. They're back with a new album. They've only been around for 55 years.
Yeah. We're tight. We're very tight.
It's time for you to discover this band that's been around for 5.5 decades.
And I got something to say to you, James. You ready?
Yes.
Great God in heaven, you know I love you. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-da.
Car Con Carne is presented by the Autobarn Mazda of Evanston.